when I was growing up, my parents were Christians, and we went to church every Sunday and every Wednesday. And I was in a Awana program. I don't know if anyone knows about that, but so I was memorizing Bible verses. And when I was 5 years old, I actually remember sitting at a table with my parents and saying the sinner's prayer. And I remember, like, basically at church, that was what we were told to do. If you say this prayer, you'll be saved, and you won't go to hell, you'll go to heaven with Jesus. And so I did that. And as I grew up, I remember, I liked going to church and everything, but I didn't really understand what it meant truly to be saved. I thought that I could have God as my Savior, I could have Jesus as my Savior, but not Lord of my life, and surrender my whole life over to Him.
That's right.
And so probably when I was, I think I was 13, I went to Spring Hill Camp, which is a Christian camp, and at this point I had seen, I have 4 sisters. And so I saw my older sisters, they, got into the party scene and were partying in high school and stuff like that. And I looked at them and I thought that that's what looked fun to me. That's what looked fun to me. And I saw my parents who were really involved with church, and that looked boring. It looked not fun. And same with all the other people at church. And so I'm at this camp, and I really believe it was, God was really speaking to me, pursuing me about giving my life over to Him. And because I thought that even though I said this prayer and that I was going to heaven because, I always believed that God was real and that the Bible was true and that Jesus really did die on the cross to save me from hell, to save me from my sins. And I knew those things, that they were true, they were real to me, but it was a head knowledge. And so I, when I was at this camp, I knew there was something wrong about the way I was thinking about that. Like, I needed to live a Christian life in order to be a Christian. But it was still like I was somehow thinking I could go to heaven and not hell, and still live the way I wanted to, even though I knew that was wrong. So I knew that I was making the wrong decision, but I didn't care. I wanted to experience the world and the things of the world and do what my older sisters were doing, which looked cool and fun and awesome, and experience the world and, do the party thing and all that goes along with it.
Yep.
So when I as I probably from the time I was 13 till the time I was 15, I really struggled with like knowing that I was choosing the wrong thing, and God, and a lot of times I would pray. I would be like, God, I know that what I'm doing is wrong. I want to do things, I want to experience the world, and I would pray like I want my will to be what your will is for my life, and I want to surrender, but I don't right now. I want to do what I want to do. And when I turned 15 was when my older sister Trish told me that she would let me drink with her, and so I would go over there and drink, and she would like limit the amount of alcohol that I could have, and then that turned into she would let me have one friend come over and we could drink, and I always I was always excited about it. I always wanted to do it. I was always looking for just like fun and risky stuff and stuff that I knew my parents wouldn't like, or like I could get away with things, and people would never think that I was doing it, but I could get away with it, and so really now looking back, it was like I had just had this void in my life, and I was just trying to fill it with that kind of thing. And so then when I turned 16, I met a guy, and I knew because my sisters, they would take ecstasy and stuff like that, and I always knew that I wanted to try those kind of drugs. I was curious about all of them, but I told myself I will never do heroin or smoke crack. And so when I turned 16, the guy that I was seeing, he had already experienced cocaine and ecstasy and all this stuff, and he made it available to me. And so every weekend we would go and party, and it was fun, it was exciting, and that was basically what I lived for. Even throughout the week, even during school, it was like I just wanted the weekend to come so I could party. And then as time went on, I kept doing it like even on the weekdays, and not just on the weekends. And even through all that, God would sometimes I would be like, that I was living the wrong way. And at a couple points in my life, my boyfriend at the time, his name was Scott, and he was like really starting to do drugs a lot more, and becoming addicted, and I saw it, and it was like my whole life was just about riding to get drugs, or trying to figure out a way to lying to my parents, and it was like my whole life just turned into figuring out a way to get high or to drink without my parents knowing, and it really became like I was like, what am I doing? What is my life is like nothing. Like it's only about drugs. It's only about drugs, and so I remember breaking up with Scott because I thought that would help, and that didn't really work out because really I had not only my identity had become like drugs was like a part of me, who I was, and so was he, and it was like that is who I was, so I couldn't live without. It was like I couldn't live without him, I couldn't live without drugs, and I would like literally, I remember being on my bedroom floor and like crying and bawling my eyes out and like just miserable. And during that time, I also remember that I started cutting myself, and actually I realize now, I think a lot of it was a way to release like pain, but at the same time, I think some things